Pull up Facebook. All right. Give me one more second, Brad, and then we will make sure that we're live. We are live. Let's start a watch party. Start. All right. All right, we are live. My name is Chad Andrews. I am with Brad Sohner. Longtime friend, co-commentator, general knucklehead. Brad, I guess the first question is, how you be?
You know, living the dream, man. Hanging in there. Could always be worse, right?
What is that dream?
Well, right now it involves pointing my iPhone out the window for countless hours and then editing videos for strangers on the internet.
Do you know, I'm going to get out of the frame real second. Do you know how many people would have loved to have that idea? I mean, everybody's at home that's a cyclist is thinking, there's got to be something cool I can do. And then you come up with that.
I didn't even know I had the idea. Honestly, the first one, I was like, all right, this will be funny. I'll make a funny video, whatever. And it took off. The views were insane. And so I was like, well, I have to make a second one now. And then that kind of proved like, all right, people really want to see a tour. I mean, they actually want to see at least a week-long fake bike race. So just kept going.
We've done some silly stuff in the past, whether it's been on the microphone or just in general over bourbon or whatever. But what kind of, and for those of you who are joining again, Chad Andrews, I am Chad Andrews. That's Brad Sohner on the other side. Brad's in Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh, yeah.
Okay, still in Pittsburgh.
I'm surprised you didn't figure that out from the...
No, I assumed,
but... There were plenty
but
of internet sleuths that figured it out.
No, I did it. I just don't want to assume. That's kind of what I don't want to do.
You never know.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about the impetus. Why?
Boredom, honestly. A lot of people I think are thinking that I'm trying to like keep my skills sharp or, using it as a chance to practice commentary or whatever. But, it's really just to get some laughs. It's to have some fun, put a smile on some people's faces. I think a lot of people can use it right now. But it really just started with a bored day outside, watching people ride across the river from me. I have a great view from my apartment window. So it kind of seemed like a no-brainer to add some commentary, and then it was add some graphics, and then it was add some audio effects, and then some replays and slow-mo here and there. So it kind of slowly grew with every episode. But yeah, we're on episode 8 today.
Stage 8.
Sorry,
Stage. This is serious stuff, dude. Okay. Don't mess that up. So I gotta ask. I watched the first one. I was like, shit, this is funny. I mean, this is good stuff. But I think that it was the galvanization of your ability to be able, in the production truck, doing commentary and doing voiceovers, stuff that we've done for years, all just came together in a neat little Twitter 2-minute and 20-second package.
Yeah. All my years of training finally paid off to get a viral video on Twitter. But yeah, I mean, I had all this stuff there. And the funny thing is, I'm not even using high-end equipment. I mean, I do the audio with my built-in MacBook microphone. I'm not using a pro-level voiceover setup. There's no real high-end equipment involved. But yeah, amazingly, these videos are performing well or better than a lot of, 6-figure shows that we've done for bike races. But that's the game.
So this is, wait a minute, I have to ask, is this in kind or is it not in,
I don't know what this is, but...
Oh, speaking of what this is, what's your beverage of choice? I'm being very highbrow today, and I'm having a little glass of red wine. You're having...
I'm drinking also a glass of cheap red wine. No. It's a 2050 Côte d'Aron.
Is that going to be... 2050. Is that going to be your impetus for tomorrow's stage?
No, yeah. I try to shoot and edit kind of in the morning into the afternoon, before the buzz sets in, so... Although on yesterday's stage, I did pose the question, how soon is too soon to start drinking under quarantine? A lot of people chimed in on that.
No, I think that's probably been the most rampant post in the history of mankind is what's too... And my response is, I actually physically laid out like a week and a half ago, what you start off with, and then at the end it doesn't really matter by 11 o'clock at night. I suggested tequila, but are you really going to know if you start off with, I don't know, Bloody Marys at 7 a.m.?
Yeah.
You're not.
Nobody knows. Unless you got a Zoom conference call that you have to
Oh,
answer.
those are even better, though.
Yeah.
Tetric's choice was, she went highbrow on me. She went like reposado tequila with this and all. So I was like, whatever. Good for you.
That sounds like Allie.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Doesn't it? All right.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of flash back before the Tour de Quarantine happened, before any of these other things happened, into the craziness in this world. I was actually in Mexico. Everybody knows that's been watching the Chats with Chat. I was in Mexico, and I was like this. Hey, what's up, guys? You know, we're sitting here in Zipolite. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I got a text. Oh, yeah, okay, bad, whatever. You know. And then all of a sudden, I get to Guadalajara Airport, and it's just like everything changed. My perspective, my thought processes, the stress level, my cortisol, just like bam, 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 right at me. What about you?
Yeah, I think everyone here did to some extent. Everyone underestimated how this was going to impact the United States. We all saw it happening in Wuhan. We all saw it happening in Italy. And for some reason, the thinking was it won't happen to us or it won't happen here. And I was guilty of having that train of thought for a while.
Just the flu.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like something that for some reason we'd be able to handle. But, it's becoming increasingly clear that that's not going to happen. So, I think I made the realization relatively early that we weren't going to have bike racing for a while.
What's a while?
A few weeks ago, I think I thought it was going to be June, and I think now there's a very good chance that we go all the way through the summer without any bike racing.
I think you're exactly right. Even all the promoters are trying to stack up the back. Like you and I are probably going to be overworked in September, October, probably even through November. But I have a sneaky suspicion, Brad, we're not even going to have racing then.
Yeah. I mean, and when you look at how we come back from it and what the rebuilding is like after this, unfortunately, I think bike races are pretty low on the totem pole of priorities. In terms of resources and where cities are putting their efforts and stuff like that. So, I hope to see it back sooner rather than later. But I think we have to be realistic about the possibility that we might not be racing until the fall, if not later.
You brought up, you and I have both been, you've been way more than I have, but we've both been to China. Did you see what, and gosh, I can't believe you and I are talking this, but we are both experienced in the Chinese kind of culture. Yeah. You way more than me, but still I have a fine appreciation or craziness of it. That Wuhan said 2,500, the government said 2,500 dead. Today they're probably guessing around 46,000 people in Wuhan died.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, and it goes back to this ongoing theme that none of us really know how bad this is, and we don't really understand what it's going to become yet. And I think that's the scariest part for most people, that there's still information coming in, and we're still, we don't know what the curve's going to look like. We don't know what the other half of the graph looks like for China. So, yeah, it's scary, but, at least we had some heads up here, and I hope that people will take the guidelines seriously and take social distancing seriously, although I've been somewhat disappointed by some things I've seen in my city and the country. But
yeah, you and I are not, because you and I will start, and if we agree, we're just going to be like, these sons of beep, 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 beep. No, we all know, you know who you are out there that are doing the things that you should not be doing. Cycling and triathlon and endurance sports are inherently social sports, but Jesus Christ, we can get away with it for an hour. I mean, a month or 2 months or whatever. Yeah, one of Donna Rubin just texted back, said South Carolina beaches are now closed and our parks and recs are closed here. So it's kind of like what you said. It's like and even like Dr. Fauci was saying, it's like we're like a month behind. Yeah. We're a month behind everything. We're a month behind.
Yeah, it's gonna get worse. We don't.
Anyway.
And I still don't think we're at the point where everything that needs to be closed is closed. Because I can still get within 6 feet of a lot of people.
Pittsburgh doesn't have a stay-at-home order?
It's a recommendation right now. So, you've seen the Tour de Quarantine videos. The bike paths are still not Dr. Fauci approved.
Good point. If this was January, I think we first started really ramping up. January the 10th is when we started hearing about COVID. Is what you're doing now on January 9th considered creepy? But on now, now it's perfectly okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But, it's just like drinking at 11 a.m., There's some things that you can just do during quarantine that you can't do during other times. So it's an exceptional time, and a time that we're never going to see again in our generation. Hopefully not. I hope we don't have another pandemic like this. But, exceptional times call for exceptional measures. So.
All right. Let's lighten this thing up. Let's let you and I, with your Coca-Cola glass full of wine and my probably box wine, who knows. First, let's talk about quarantine, Tour de Quarantine. Obviously, that's why it went viral. I saw the first day. I was like, okay, this is cute. I mean, hey, I'm 54, I can say it. But it was endearing. It was engaging. You come across sometimes as like this snarky guy, but deep down inside, you've got this heart that I know that you're tugging at, and all the names you're coming up with, and your love for dogs. Where do you get the? I mean, is it like, okay, like you and I are doing commentary, and we just immediately go, bam, and this is the thought that comes out of our thought, or is it like, are you trying to over?
No. Yeah, there's some thinking that goes into it for sure. I film a lot during the day to try to find the best clips of people racing or stuff that I can make look like they're racing. And then it's just kind of trying to describe it in a way that is, approachable to everyone. And I'm very aware of the fact that I might be making fun of someone that's out there riding, and like I really don't want to do that. So I try to make sure that it's funny in a way that's not degrading towards the riders. Even questionable bike share user, I had to give him a good day because I felt bad calling him a questionable rider because there is no bad way to ride a bike share bike. Just ride the thing. But yeah, trying to stay positive, and that's what it's about. It's I hope people see it as a positive and funny thing. I'm trying to put a smile on people's faces.
Well, you are, but this is my guess is that this is a UPS event. UCI event, a UPS, a whatever event. What are the stipulations? Are we allowed to have? Can I have my daughter's giant 650 wheel bike along with a e-bike?
Yeah, anything goes. Yeah, we got a lady on an e-bike. We got a tandem. We got a guy with a trailer.
Motorcycle?
Trailer guy switched out for his daughter on one stage. He went from like a early tag-along trailer to like a single wheel trailer on the back. So yeah, I mean, run what you run.
So there are no, at the Tour de Quarantine, there really are no rules.
No, I make them up as I go. If you haven't figured this out yet.
No, I have figured it out, but I'm just trying to understand where we're going with this.
I don't know where we're going with this. I don't know how long this thing's going to be. I don't know how many of these things I'm going to have to make.
Brad, there are uptight cyclists out there that are racers that are going, oh my God, that was a bike swap. And it was done illegally. Have you gotten those complaints yet?
Oh, yeah. But that's good. I like that people are invested in the Tour de Quarantine. But yeah, some people are upset at e-bike lady for being allowed to have a motor. There's some questions about the anti-doping that goes on here at the Tour, of which there is none. So people just have to get used to the modern era of bike racing.
Okay, there's no doping testing, but is there COVID testing?
I wish. Honestly, if I had COVID tests, I would love to test
Wouldn't that be great?
People
at
out
the start line?
That'd be awesome.
At the finish line?
Yeah, then I could just tell everyone if they, needed to isolate for a couple weeks or. Yeah, so if anyone has any COVID tests, send them my way. I'll test all the participants of Tour de Quarantine.
Do you really want me to go there? If anybody has any COVID tests out there, let us know. We can get them to the right space.
And then we need to get them, run through the lab and everything. But I have noticed people have been trying to be a little more, trying to pass with a little more space and trying to be a little more cautious. But on a bike path, it's almost impossible to keep the recommended 6 foot distance. So, we either have to go all in and isolate or not. And I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that decision is really going to be.
I got it. I got the answer. Just turn it into triathlon rules for cycling.
I've been getting a lot of questions about time trials at Tour de Quarantine, and there will be a time trial eventually one day. But I'm saving it for a rainy day per se when we don't have a lot of climbing or sprint action. We'll do a time trial that day.
Tomorrow it's going to rain here a lot. So what about tomorrow?
Yeah, it's been raining here for a while. Actually, the course is in danger of flooding here at the Tour de Quarantine.
Ooh, that would be.
It got pretty close to busting the banks, and on the other side of the river, it is flooded. So, if we get any more rain here in the Pittsburgh region, we're going to be in trouble.
Is it going to be kind of like the Tour Utah stage on Snowbird?
We race no matter what. We race rain or shine. There are no rain delays at Tour de Quarantine. So, we'll see. But
the numbers may just come down because of the rain.
Hey, that wouldn't be such a bad thing. A lot of people have been asking, too, about, what happens if there's a full quarantine? What happens if people can't ride? Are you going to keep having Tour de Quarantine? I would love nothing more than to end Tour de Quarantine because people are staying home and not interacting, and that'd be great. So,
and then you'd have to do it through the alternate universe of online stuff.
Yeah. Just not as exciting as a lady on an e-bike going up against a dog in a basket.
Nothing can compare to that.
I get that. Yeah. And that's the best part. I mean, that these are regular people. And, another, I guess, consequence of this is I've realized how many different people use the bike path for different reasons. We get into this world of bike racing, and it's all Freds and spandex and carbon road bikes, but man, there are a lot of people that just want to ride their bike, and that makes up a big portion of cyclists in America. And this is a kind of a good chance to highlight them, I guess, and thank them for riding.
Isn't that interesting that you say that? That is something that I've known. Like, take for example, Caitlin's been home. She's out there with Kirby. She lost our oldest daughter. She lost her 3 jobs while she's in her senior year at UNC Charlotte, and we were cleaning out our garage yesterday. Which, holy Jesus, wow, that was a task. It was insane.
Quarantine task. Yeah.
It was nuts. It took us like 2 days. We're still not done. The driveway's full of trash. So I got a pile in the car. But what I'm saying is, Caitlin and Kirby got the bikes that they had for like 10 years. I put air in them, and they rode to the damn grocery store to get food.
That's cool. Yeah. I'll bet you there's a lot of that going on across the country. A lot of dusting off of the old 10 speeds.
I was blown away. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. It's an unexpected consequence of what we are currently dealing with, and I love it. Like you're saying, you probably have seen those people ride on that greenway 1,000 times, but never appreciate it as much as you do now.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the thing that just makes me go, wow. Real quick. No, not real quick. We've got some time. Best name you've given to... This is a Chris Berman moment. Best name you've given to one of the TDQ riders, and worst name that you've given to the TDQ riders so far to date. Self-critique.
That's a tough one. Yeah, I think my favorite rider or my favorite character is Jimmy John's delivery guy. Just because it's such an omnipresent role in the United States, at least, or wherever Jimmy Johns are. I don't think they're everywhere in the United States, but and Jimmy John's guy flies, always speeding around on these bike paths. So I think identifying him was a key part for me to realize that this could be a race. But very, very cute dog, good boy, fan favorite, doing pretty well in the fan poll. So that might be my favorite created character because he's a click machine.
But is he one of those guys that you want to hook on the greenway because he's going so fast?
Yeah, there's a little element of Jimmy John's delivery guy going too fast, but we've all been there. Just you got to slow it down a little bit, check it up. But
All
yeah,
right, worst name.
a couple Freds. There's two Freds that always ride together. I think that's maybe my
You
meanest
have
name
been.
for the
I did not
riders.
see that.
Yeah. There's a couple. There's two Freds, and they always ride together because they're Freds.
Postal
So maybe
kids.
that's. No, they wear like neon, like Pro Azumi jerseys, like something you would get on Nash bar clearance, that type of thing. Yeah.
Oh my God, NASCAR clearance. That came from. That's a good one. That's.
But you know what I'm
Oh,
talking
do I
about,
know?
right? When I say Nash bar clearance, you know
Do I
exactly what
know?
I'm
Do I
talking about.
know?
There you go.
All right. So who? How many stages? I'm sorry. I pulled up the tech guide. I read through it, but I've forgotten how many stages there are for the Tour de Quarantine.
Send me the tech guide.
Oh,
I still haven't seen the tech guide.
hey, I know people.
I mean, no, I have no idea. Like I said, when I first started this thing, I thought it was going to be one, and then I thought it was going to be two, and then I thought I'd do a 7-day stage race, but people kept watching, and the clicks are still there, and I have a lot of people that are commenting and messaging me and just saying, thanks for putting this up. I watch it every day. It's my one smile of the day, and that makes it really hard for me to stop doing it.
I called you. I was like, hey, let me do shit. I got this great idea, Brad. Check it out. This is what we need to do. And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, this is a 2-minute and 20-second video. There's not going to be any time. My suggestion, what my thought was, since Brad and I, when we do a lot of races together, he's doing the live stream. Well, the biggest race that we do together, one of the biggest races we do is the Tour of Utah, which I guess this year would be technically the biggest race in the States. But I would do the motor commentary. So I was like, hey, what I'll do is I've got my microphone with my Tour Utah flag on. Yeah, I do. And I would set the microphone down after being on my scooter, set it down, have somebody drive by, pick it up, and we would scream back and forth about 100 feet away having the interview. Now, we'd have to be going like 2 miles an hour, but hey,
right.
I mean,
You'd have to get one of those like 4-wheelers to go that slow. I don't think you can do that on a GS 1200.
50-meter scooter. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got a scooter. Yeah. Well, Brett, trailer that thing up and come out to Pittsburgh. You can zip back and forth in front of my window and get some interviews.
I got it. I got a better one. Hold on. I got a better one. I'm on one of those sidecars. Somebody's driving the sidecar. I'm in the sidecar and I've got a boom mic.
6 feet away.
I could do like
Perfect.
15 feet away. Just get that thing out there and hold it. Matter of fact,
If
that's
anyone
going to be
could
my
do
suggestion for the Tour of Utah. Sidecar. It's safer.
I like that.
With a
boom mic.
All right. Now we're going to
Perfect.
transition to other stuff. And I'm jumping around on you, but that's all right. When is going to be your first race, do you think?
I don't think any of the races that I have on my calendar right now will race on their original date. So I think probably a rescheduled race in October would be the most realistic.
What about the September and October races?
I'm thinking. I usually spend most of my September in China, doing the Chinese stage races. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. I think it'll go one of two ways. Either they continue to be extremely cautious. I think they have had a pretty good response to the virus. I mean, they've had a pretty good quarantine situation when they realized how serious it was. So either they continue that on an extreme scale to try to end it, or they use these events to try to, show that China is open for business, to try to show that, the world keeps going beyond COVID-19. So I don't know which way of those two it's going to go, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll go to China in September. I guess
answer this if you want to. Knowing the way that China disseminates information like this, and you've got a paycheck coming up in September, and they've been saying that this is somewhat seasonal, it follows the warm temperatures, would you go to China?
I mean, it depends what the data says. If if we're to a point where it's isolated and there's only a few cases and they've figured out somehow how to, contain those cases and it's not really spreading around, then yeah, I think I would go back. And I would trust the data to a certain extent.
No, but what the Chinese are putting
out. Yeah, with a skeptical eye. I would like to, again, it depends on, it's going to be a global response to this, right? It's not just what one country can do or what one government can do to try to stop it. So it's going to be where we are as the entire world, not where one country is. You can't just, it's such an interconnected world now. You can't just go country to country and say, oh, this country has it, this country doesn't, this country's safe, this country's not. It's a global epidemic, it's a global response. So we'll see where we are globally in September, and that's going to be my decision. Whether or not to travel is sort of where we are on Earth, where the curve is in general. But I still don't think we've seen the worst of it. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. And then on the other side, we'll try and catch it on the downswing. It's just like trying to buy stocks, right? You never want to try and catch the falling knife. You don't want to try and catch the dip on the way down because you never know when it's going back up. But at some point, you have to go back to work. And if we do well and we have a good response and science tells us that things are getting safer and it's okay to travel and we can do it with minimum risk or no risk, then yeah, let's go race bikes. But I'm definitely not going to be the person that goes to China for a paycheck because, I wanted to get out there a few weeks ahead of everyone else. If there's any question or there's a potential that it's going to make it worse as a whole, then I'm staying home. I have no problem with that.
Because at this point, I mean, you and I both are under reasonable agreement. And even the people that we've talked to, we're going to do even a summit with a bunch of pro cyclists coming up here in probably 3 or 4 days, maybe a little bit longer. But it's crazy how the thought process is when I first did chats with Chad with Lauren Hall, now to where I've had this conversation with you, everybody would be saying the same thing, but the message has changed over those past 7 to 10 days, and it's insane to see that.
Yeah, and it's going to keep changing. I mean, where we are today is going to be drastically different from where we are a week from now. And what is acceptable and what we think is okay and what we agree upon in our, societal social contract is going to be significantly different than life today, I think. So it's going to be really, really interesting to watch as more and more people come to the realization that we're in extraordinary times.
Best gig you've ever gotten?
The Maui stage race. John Gallagher, who does one-to-go timing event services. He does all the photo finish timing for national championships and all the big races in the U.S. Was like, hey, there's this stage race in Maui. I'm going out to time it. Do you want to come announce? For no pay, but we'll pay your travel. And they were great. They hooked me up with a sweet house, and I was like totally in, and got a free trip to Maui. It was awesome.
Wow, when was that?
By far the best gig I ever had. 2014 maybe. I moved there for 2 years afterwards.
Is that why you moved there? Is because of that stage race?
That's not why, but it was right around the same time, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this place. This place is cool. Like I could probably live there. So, no, didn't I? The opposite was sort of the. No. Unmet a girl.
Unmet a girl. Oh, okay.
But I always wanted to move somewhere cool. Definitely part of the job of being a pro cycling announcer was the ability to live anywhere, and the allure of travel and all that stuff was cool. And so I was going to go somewhere crazy. I was going to go somewhere cool no matter what. I was living in New York City at the time and didn't want to go to LA. Didn't really like LA, so I figured Hawaii was the next most exotic
Brad,
place I
can you
could
send
go.
us a quote to come to Anderson? Well, my fee is this, but the airfare is going to be $7,000.
That was a big part of it, actually. Having to break the news to the promoters that these travel costs were like exponentially higher than they were the years before.
I've never seen $1,500 on your last bill.
Yeah. And then just the travel in general. I mean, it was a horrible, horrible flight from LA to Maui. And I would come back for 2-day races where it was a day of travel each way. It's like 6.5 or 7 hours or something. And that's just to get to the West Coast or maybe Salt Lake, and then, have to connect from there. So it just got to be too much, but, it was fun while it lasted. That was a good place to kill a couple of years, but, yeah. And then ultimately I came to Pittsburgh, and, one, I wanted a place I could live without a car because, I'd gotten so used to it in New York, and I really loved the idea of living without a car. So Pittsburgh is one of the weird cities where you can do that if you live in just the right place and you have access to the bike paths. You can, you can get to pretty much everywhere you need to go.
Which river is it that you're on? Not to get specific, but which of the three are you on?
I don't know. There's two that come together, and I think form the third, but I don't know. I don't know which one the Tour de Quarantine's looking at. There's the Allegheny.
Monongahela, and I don't know, something else.
Monongahela, yeah, and I don't know. I think the Ohio River is one of them. I should know,
probably
but
should, especially since you're in downtown Pittsburgh. That's probably.
Yeah, those weren't on my stage notes of Tour de Quarantine. Usually I have a producer that does that for us. They write out information about the city that we're racing in and interesting facts along the day. For some reason, I didn't get that for Tour de Quarantine.
I know this is a very rude question, but what's your budget for Tour de Quarantine? I mean, it's got to be exorbitant.
Yeah, we're kind of in a startup phase right now. We're just burning loads of cash in hopes that we'll find an investor or a sponsor one day. So if anyone out there is looking for a partnership, Tour de Quarantine is open. Yeah, I mean,
the helicopter alone, well, the fuel's dropped a lot, but the helicopter is got to be just insane.
Yeah, we use like a Uber helicopter service, so it's not that bad, but it's the editing that kills me. All those graphics and stuff aren't.
All right,
free,
I gotta know. How long does it take you to do a stage?
Honestly, longer than I should admit to. Some days it's 4 or 5 hours.
Because you want it right.
And mostly, right, because I'm a perfectionist to a fault. And I'll see something and I can go back and be like, oh, I can do this better. I can get a better sound effect. I can get a better interview clip. I can redo this, whatever. Today I spent like an hour trying to figure out how to do a telestrator so I could circle the photo finish guy. It's the little things, but they add up. But, what else am I doing? Learn something new, build my skills, make something fun in the process. So,
I mean, what you're doing is you're galvanizing everything that you've ever learned over the past 15 years and just kind of pushing it into this like cool concept of like.
It is a weird kind of one-man show, It's like every job that I've always hired out for these TV productions now comes in-house, and you kind of realize how important those people are. The hard work that they do.
Like the shit I was getting for the first chats with Chad is like, your backdrop sucks. Ah, crap. Sound sucks. Yeah. Crap. This sucks. This sucks. This sucks. It's like, change it. And I'm eventually like, all right, finally I'm going to do a place, but now I'm going to transfer the studio into another location. So I don't disrupt family life and whatever, but I kind of love my studio right now. I mean, it's it's kind of homey.
It's homey. I like it. It's very warm. You got to get a fire going in the fireplace back there.
We've had a fire going in there in like 15 years.
Yeah. I don't think most people have. I think most people
would have to Google
fireplace
how to start the damn fireplace. I have no idea how to start it. None whatsoever.
You can do a, say what, when you move to your new studio, we'll do a CGI green screen
I like
fireplace
that.
for you.
Hey, I am getting a green screen.
Fireside chat for chat. There
How
you go.
lame is that? I'm gonna have my own studio for 7 people to check in and see how I'm doing.
Hey man, I made an entire 2 minute and 20-second video to try to make 7 people laugh.
That's crap. You had like 40,000 viewers on one, didn't you?
Yeah, but I had no idea it was going to be 40,000 viewers. I honestly thought it was just going to be a regular Twitter video. I mean, like, on a good day, I'll get 100 likes. If I have, like, real good content, I can get 100 likes on Twitter. But, yeah, this blew up. I had thousands of likes. Yeah, I left it alone for a couple hours and just came back to look, and it
You're like, did I log out of my account to somebody else's account? What the hell just happened?
But the point is, you never know. You never know what that good content is, and that's definitely something that I've learned. It's not about the equipment or how much money you spend on the production or whatever. Just good content. Like I said, I've done $100,000 18 camera shows, and I film this with an iPhone and a laptop, and the viewership blows a lot of those races out of the water.
Do you want to know what we want? What everybody wants right now is organic.
Yeah, tell me.
Heartfelt, fun, creative, unique, different. I don't want to see a switcher with 7 different cameras. I want to watch a Tinder moment with... Wait a minute, hold on. Are you sure that was Tinder? Because they look pretty young.
No. You have to understand, every story on this show is completely made up. So I have no idea where these people are going or what they're doing or what their backstories are.
Like
so
13.
How can you tell? It's an iPhone from like 300 yards away.
I was all over it. I actually went to their genealogy and figured it all out. They're brother and sister. Now, how do you feel?
Yeah, you got better odds than me.
Glasses, son, glasses. They work.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got one more question, then I'm going to let you jet because I know you've got to go do tour to quarantine stuff. Which the first question may lead into a second question, so you can't hold me to it. The biggest gaffe you've ever made professional commentating?
That's a tough one. I've missed a few finishes for sure. That's a bummer. Yeah, asked riders questions about girlfriends that didn't exist. Or like, how's your pet? Mix them up with another rider asking me about something. There's too many to say one is the worst. Although I can tell you my favorite was, I think it was Tour of Utah, where they asked Tom Danielson about his wife, who was actually his girlfriend at the time. That was always a favorite gaffe of mine. I didn't make it, but I still, to this day, laugh at that moment. I believe the quote was, "It must be nice to share this moment with your wife," and he said, "That's my girlfriend." But
hey,
that's life, man.
Tommy D understands, I'm sure.
Things change. Yeah, you got to keep, we all know stuff changes, and we all have lives outside of bike racing, and, stuff changes rapidly, so you have to be careful as a commentator. And I usually try and avoid that stuff. I don't try to get too personal with the riders. I try to, there's no reason to drop in any inside information, if you know their dog's name, something like the girl. Like, that doesn't really contribute to the show that much, and I don't think viewers at home are really... missing out on that information. So I try to keep it professional when I can.
Until we get on the microphone, and then during the race, and then that's all bets are off.
Until you're on a live
I've made
podcast.
So many terrible mistakes. Some of them are good. Some of them are funny. The worst thing is when we've done so many crits together, and a lot of the crits, if they're going to bring 2 commentators in, they've spent the time and energy and the budget to make it work, and then sometimes, if they're just going to have one commentator, sometimes they don't have the sound around the whole, around the whole venue. They have it just at the home stretch, whatever. And I was talking about a rider from Australia, and I accidentally said and he was at a Kiwi.
A Kiwi.
And he came,
Oh,
which is,
man.
I screwed up. And he came around the back. Evidently, there was sound around the whole entire venue, and he came by screaming the F-bomb at me. And he goes, I'm not an Aussie. I'm not a Kiwi. I'm an Aussie. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
how? And then I was like, ding, hello. He laughed at me about it afterwards, but he came across the finish line and evidently wasn't going too hard because he just gave me F-bombs and said, I'm not a Kiwi, I'm an Aussie.
I learned that very early in my career that you never mix up Australia and New Zealand. So I'm extremely cautious about that when it comes to riders. It's like the U.S. and Canada. You wouldn't want to get mixed up with a Canuck. Proud American.
MAGA.
All right, maybe it's not the same.
All right, so where can we find information about Brad Sohner and his tour de quarantine, which we had so illustriously painted in our famous Chad Andrews studio, which is going to change?
I've actually been watching this race over your shoulder for the last 25 minutes. It's been good.
How come you
There's
haven't
been some
jumped in
good
and
stuff.
commentate?
Yes, a lot of mechanicals, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on back there. I'm looking for new material for next
I'm here to
episode of
serve.
Tour de Quarantine. We'll check the interviews at the end there. If you want to watch it, I post it on Twitter every day, every afternoon around 3 o'clock. YouTube, Facebook, it's on pretty much all my social channels. Just follow me there. Whatever your favorite way to follow and consume video is. I've been learning more about YouTube. I was never really a
That
YouTuber,
surprises me too.
but now... Yeah, I just, most of the time I create content for clients, and it's not my content to put out. So I don't really have, I never really had a need for a YouTube repository of videos or anything like that. But, now that I have my own content, I'm starting to grow my following there. So, just watch for it every day around 3 o'clock. That's when I try to push them out.
So the stages are obviously run early in the morning then, I would think. And then you have to put, go into post editing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I try to just do one episode per day. I don't. They're not done ahead of time. I don't have a bank of episodes ready to go. To try to keep it organic and keep it fun, I just do one episode per day. Start editing in the morning and then try and get it done by the afternoon.
Before I let you go, if the fans want to show up and they want to go to the team cars and that kind of stuff, what time typically is staging? And
the best time to get out there would be sometime around noon, depending on the weather. Sometimes we'll shoot multiple stages in one day. Believe it or not, a little TV magic. I think I think any Pittsburgher at this point has figured out where these videos are being shot. So if you wanted to make an appearance, you just got to go down and try your luck. You never know when the Tour de Quarantine is being filmed.
They could be even more famous. They could be viral.
They could be up there. They could be up there with Lady on the e-bike and Guy in Orange and the rest of the cast
All right,
of characters.
how many more stages do we have left to go?
You tell me. I'm waiting for this thing to end, just like you.
So we're... Oof. Whoa.
Yeah, it could go on forever. If we don't take this thing seriously, we could be looking at 30, 40 stages of Tour de Quarantine, and nobody wants that.
Yes, we do.
Good reminder, too.
Yes, we do. I want to see Brad frazzled in 6 months. It's going to be all right, time for Tour Utah. It's I'm done. I'm done. I can't do any more.
Yeah.
All right, well, Brad, I'm going to let you go. Want to know why? Because I think it's time for you to refill your glass of wine. It's time for me to refill my glass of wine. Next time that we work together, we're going to really, really work on our social distancing. So, I think that if we are in the same stage or same booth or, same sidewalk, and it's been the case in some races, that we're going to... No, I think we probably should do 7 just to be safe, yeah.
Okay. Fine by me. Although you're not a bad commentating partner, you're not a spitter. There's some announcers that you want to be maybe more than 7 feet away from. But
I am from North Carolina, and I have done the spitting contest before, and you're right. My range is about
Yeah.
6 feet, so I think you're safe.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right,
I'll wear
Brad.
my
Well, listen,
mask.
I wish you nothing but the best. I hope you're safe, family safe back in Ohio. And I look forward to working with you again sometime soon.
One day we're gonna work together at a bike race
All right,
again.
buddy. Thank you.
One day. Until then, stay safe, stay home, don't spread the virus, be cool,
Will do.
follow the rules. For the quarantine.
Later.